Penn State On Demand is a service of Penn State Public Broadcasting, and now you can support WPSU when you shop online. Visit WPSU.org/shop to make purchases from national online retailers, and WPSU will receive a portion of the sale with no extra cost to you. So start your online shopping at WPSU.org/shop.
Coming up on this episode of We Are the Millennials, the crew takes its act to the Hintz Family Alumni Center to check out what the Alumni Association is doing for members of our generation. We survey the underground music scene at Penn State and how are different generations consuming media. All on this episode of We Are the Millennials. Every generation has events that shape who they are. The greatest generation defeated fascism in World War II. The silent generation was defined by ambiguity and the forgotten war. The baby boomers had Woodstock, and Generation Xers had the introduction of personal technology. But it is the millennials who could be the next great generation. Join 8 Penn State students as they discover what it means to be in this generation. We are the Millennials.
Welcome back to We Are the Millennials. This is Season 4. I'm Nick, this is Brian, and we're your producers this year. Now this time we're doing something a little different. As you can tell, we're not in our usual studio. All of our shows are going to be out on location to give you guys a better view around the Penn State campus and to explore everything that Penn State really has to offer.
And Nick, for our first show, we're here at the Hintz Alumni Center, and it really is a beautiful building. And we're going to look at some of the things the Alumni Association does a little later on. But for our first story, Alex took a look at how the current generation and former generations consume media today.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. I took a look at the newspaper industry and seeing how it's changed over the years, and especially how the millennials are affecting that change. It's well known that the newspaper industry has fallen on hard times. Ever-increasing technologies have driven the decline in paper news. But has the millennial generation, frequent users of the latest technologies, abandoned the classic newspaper?
The newspaper is still strong, but it's not just a newspaper anymore. There's still a large percentage of people who want the print, but there's a lot of people who want headlines on their phone, they want to read it online, or they want to get it in other ways.
There's a lot of new outlets out there that may be more entertaining, that will grab the unusual, the uncommon people to the news.
We've really just tried everything. We have a Twitter account, a Foursquare account, Facebook. So we're just trying to reach our audience in as many ways as possible. And I think it's been helpful in, with the 24/7 news cycle, as far as getting information out there as quick as possible.
News is a total 24-hour cycle now. And I think that is just benefiting. I think that's getting more people engaged in news. There's no question that the younger people are more online or on mobile than they are in the actual printed product. But that doesn't mean they don't read the printed product.
I think that's one of the best things about being at a university is that, we still perpetuate this idea of, paper news.
Just focusing on the Penn State community, the Collegian and other newspapers on campus, like the CDT, are pretty important lifelines to students as far as what's going on and what's coming up and what they should be thinking about.
Students should read the college paper. I think that really is for and about the student, and whether it's Penn State or another campus, students should read that paper.
Typically around 20,000 papers are picked up a day, so that's about half the student population.
The percentage of students, I think it's 70 or 80% reading the paper every week, at least one. What we're seeing and what it's showing right now is that younger people want the news and are finding the news, and I think that's a great thing as we move forward.
Things such as Facebook and definitely shows like the Colbert Report or the Daily Show. I think, to be honest with you, those are very effective ways. People don't think they're serious, but when you watch these shows, it does intrigue and interest in you that makes you want to do actual research on actually what the real issue is.
This is a different generation, and I'm not sure we're ever going to see the numbers of people reading the actual print as we did before.
I think it will go more online. iPads, iPhones, your laptop. I think it's just it's easier for people to use, and more people are going that way, using that format.
Whether we send a text alert, whether we post it as a breaking news story, however we send it out, it has to be verified information.
I hope people are picking up the paper because they believe that it's a source of information that's unbiased and is most up to date. The things that they want to know about and are interested in should be in the paper.
Papers are still providing most of the content, the news that you actually read.
I think there's a tradition in grabbing your newspaper from your doorstep every morning and reading it while you eat breakfast.
It's a different generation. There's just too many things happening too fast for younger people.
I'm not sure if that tradition is going to last my generation or the next one, but I kind of hope it does. It's kind of nice to be able to hold the physical thing in your hands and the smudge of the newsprint.
In the dorm, you did not have telephones in your room, and the amount of information that you would get would either be by radio or the newspaper, or if you went to the movies, you would get, you know, the weekly news on the movies during the division between the first showing and the second showing, and they'd have photographs and pictures of the war going on, and that was about the only technology that there was. We, of course, didn't have any computers, no cell phones. Most of us came to college probably not owning a television, maybe even in our homes. There were probably a few that had televisions, and they were black and white. They weren't colored. So our information system was extremely slow and almost backwards compared to what it is today.
I believe our generation is different from others because there's just so much information going on now. It's the information age, and compared to like the old times, back when people were in college, they had to go to the library and read books, and that's just not our generation. We don't like reading. We need information now, need quick little snippets. It's gotta be now, it's gotta be here, it's gotta be fast.
The biggest change that I see coming back here to State College and to the campus at Penn State is how fast everything is, how quick information is given, and everyone understands quickly what is going on. And it is just the biggest change that you can even begin to imagine.
I don't understand how they use the library and the books and all that. It's without the internet, I don't know how I would research for projects, how I would process Word documents. Like almost everything that we do uses technology. I feel like it would have been 100 times harder to do anything in college without the technology that we have today.
We would send our scores by telegraph to the other college. And that was just an amazing thing to us at that time because we were actually competing with a school off campus. And it was just amazing, though, to think that you had to wait all that time to find out what the score was and who won. I have a cell phone now, and I'm learning how to use it. I don't text, but I do use a cell phone, and it's amazing. I do have a computer. I have a laptop, and I'm taking lessons. I'm learning how to use it, and it's very exciting, and it really is powerful. It's a means of information that is just so huge, and the technology of that machine is really almost unbelievable.
That was actually really interesting. Is that what you guys were looking to find, or how'd that come about?
I think we did kind of expect that because Obviously, technology has changed over the generations, and it was interesting to see how Maryland had to adapt and change to the new technologies today, whereas students nowadays, we grew up with technology and it's ever-changing. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to see someone that didn't have, you know, the Blackberries and the iPods and everything right at their fingertips for pretty much their entire lives like we have, it's just crazy. And to know that she had to learn to do all that where we just kind of knew how to do it is really different.
There had to be a way to tweet or Facebook via Morse code, though. How cool would that have been? But coming up still on We Are the Millennials, we're going to take a look at Penn State's underground music scene. We're going to take a backstage look about how we make this show, and we're going to find out why we're here at the Hintz Family Alumni Center. Coming up, We Are the Millennials.
REM, MGMT, Radiohead, and The Strokes are all bands who started in the underground music scene at their respective universities. Penn State is no exception when it comes to being the platform for so many of its struggling artists.
Students at Penn State use clubs such as Asylum and Soma for the purpose of booking shows and getting their music out. Let's hear first from Derek Sheehan, who is one of many struggling student artists, and see what he has to say.
I'm Derek Sheehan. I am a fifth-year senior, and my major is Spanish with a focus in energy business finance and a minor in German. The Penn State music scene is definitely, there's definitely a lot of opportunity. SOMA, they're the students organizing the multiple arts.
I joined 2 years back when I first went to the first general meeting, and everyone was just really enthusiastic about what they were doing, and I just fell in love with it immediately. We host a bunch of different events. Sometimes we bring big artists in and we have local artists open for them. Other times we'll have just open mic nights here at West. A couple other things are just bringing different events together. I'd say cover bands are really popular downtown because everyone can listen to music that they know and they're able to sing along, and it's a lot of fun. Musicians that play their own original music, it actually can be really exciting because you've never heard a song before, but when they play it, you can see that they made it, and it's awesome. You can fall in love with a song that you've never thought you never have a chance to hear.
There is Asylum, which they also book. They do the same kind of thing SOMA does, where they book bigger bands to come in and play, mostly at the Hub, and then they'll book local bands to open for them. And they also do state theater shows in the attic, and I played one of those before, and that was really cool.
Asylum is a student organization on campus that brings live bands and music up to Penn State. The difference between us and SOMA is the fact that we're really just based on music. The venues that we use in the Hub for our bigger shows are in an Alumni Hall and Heritage Hall. Some other venues that we have used in the past have been for different shows, and we've used the attic above the State Theater for acoustic shows, but we pretty much can put on shows wherever we can. We try, as the Asylum, to bring up music that people haven't heard of or have kind of heard of and want to see more of. So we try to bring up different things to just kind of open people's mind about different types of music that are out there.
Thanks to the Asylum, I've seen a lot of bands here that I actually really enjoy. I've been lucky to get to see a lot of the bands come here that I would normally have to drive away or go home or go to Philly or another local city to see, and it's really nice that they brought them here, so that way it makes it convenient for me, and it's free because I'm a student, so I don't have a lot of money, and it's just great to be able to come out, hang out with my friends, go see a band that I really like.
To get into the scene at Penn State, you just have to ask questions and try and meet people. I remember being a freshman, I went to Chronic Town one night and there was bands playing, and that was really cool, and I just asked the guy behind the counter, what's the deal, what's going on? And yeah, well, we book shows here or whatever. You hand them a demo, hopefully they get back to you. And you just email people, and people are definitely willing to let new music in to their establishment. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity for smaller emerging artists to use Penn State as a platform through the university and through people who are not affiliated with the university, who are just helping the scene grow and cultivate.
We Are the Millennials.
We Are the Millennials, a show about Penn State students.
A show about our generation. Written, directed, and produced by millennials.
By us.
This is season 4.
And we're making this show bigger and better.
Because that's what our generation does.
Because that's what our generation does.
That's what our generation does.
Filmed completely in HD.
And aired nationally on the Big Ten Network.
Show me another class like this. I dare you.
I dare you.
Show me another class like this. I dare you.
We are the Millennials.
We are the Millennials.
We are the Millennials.
This show and this class combines students from every discipline within the College of Communications, from broadcast journalism to film to telecom. You name it, we got it, and that's so we can make the best show possible. To learn more about We Are the Millennials, check us out on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at PSU Millennials. And remember, we are the Millennials.
There's a reason why we came to the Hints Family Alumni Center. It's not for these comfy chairs or beautiful scenery outside. It's because the Alumni Center gets so much stuff done because the Alumni Association of Penn State is such a big part, an integral part of the Penn State community. And Andrew actually took a closer look at that for us.
Yes, we spoke to the executive director at the Alumni Association, Roger Williams, about how they relate with the millennial generation and generations before that.
And one of the unique things, Nick, is that the Alumni Association contacts its members through email, through the magazines, and even through their traditional newsletters. But it's not just the older generations that are interested in the newsletters, it's also some of the younger generations and vice versa. Some Penn State graduates from 1950 prefer the emails, and that's one of the things we asked Roger about.
Penn State is an amazing opportunity.
A wonderful place to go to college.
It's an incredible institution.
Awesome.
It's an attitude.
Over 80,000 undergraduate students are currently enrolled at Penn State, with nearly 45,000 undergrads calling the school's University Park campus home. With a vibrant college atmosphere and top-notch education and research programs, it's easy to see why many students choose Penn State. However, especially in today's tightening job market, it is the postgraduate opportunities that bring many students to Happy Valley. For the past 10 years, the Penn State Alumni Association has been the largest dues-paying alumni group in the world, unique for millennials and previous generations alike.
If you look at our membership compared to our overall alumni base, our membership rate is about 30%, which is about twice the national average. And what this does is translate into an alumni base that is very heavily involved with Penn State. Actually, this university lives and dies on the strength and involvement and commitment of its alumni.
Since its founding in 1870, the Penn State Alumni Association has grown and adapted to serve its members, utilizing the latest technologies, yet remaining loyal to its most dedicated members, benefiting Nittany Lions both young and old.
Our older alumni are as internet savvy as our younger alumni now, and so both of them respond to both traditional media and to print media. Surveys for our magazine, for example, tell us that even our younger alumni want to continue receiving the magazine in its print format. So all cohorts of alumni, young, middle-aged, and older, seem to be responding almost in equal proportion to what it is we do.
And while millennials have the ability and understanding to access information at their fingertips, Williams believes some people have a misconception about the millennial generation.
An interesting point about millennials, some experts who study them say, you know, they're not necessarily as tech savvy as you think they are. They are, however, tech dependent, and there is a difference. So we'll see, but I think the technology is certainly going to work for us, not against us.
However, Williams does recognize there are distinct differences between generations.
Now, first of all, I think it's tougher to be a young person, a college student today, than it was when I was in college. And some of the differences are the structure of the family. The costs of college are not what they used to be. The average debt load for a student coming out of Penn State these days is about $28,000. I think it tends to overload people, at least people like me. I think your generation handles it a little bit better than mine, but the conditions are very different now than they were 30 or 40 years ago, and I think that's challenging to the millennials.
These differences don't stand in the way when students enter the workforce. The Alumni Association proudly promotes networking opportunities between current Nittany Lions and alumni, a special opportunity for most Penn Staters.
The Penn State Alumni Association is fundamentally all about networking. If you look at our basic mission, it's to connect alumni to the university and to each other. And of course, that's what we try to do first and foremost. We do it in a variety of ways, from Alumni Career Services, which is part of the Alumni Association, and it seeks to basically work with all of our alumni.
Current students also understand the important impact Penn State alumni can have in their future.
I read the other day that the Wall Street Journal thinks it's like the best school that recruiters like to hire people, so I felt really proud about that. Like, wow, I go to Penn State, I must be really prepared, because sometimes it's hard to kind of compare.
We're 1 in 50 college graduates in the U.S. as a Penn State alumni, so I figured for job opportunities, and you'd always have a network of people to help you out.
But what it ultimately comes down to is Penn State pride shared among generations.
It's Penn State. It's the institution. That's where the sense of identity and affiliation is. It transcends generations. It pulls us all together. Whether it's football, whether it's Thon, there is a very, very strong sense across the generations of being a Penn Stater first and foremost, and it works very well for this institution.
So that was our first episode on Season 4 of We Are the Millennials. We took a look at how millennials still read the newspaper, found out that the older generations actually didn't use Facebook via Morse code. I thought they would have. And we took a look at the Hintz Family Alumni Center. We want to give a special shout out and a thanks to them for letting us in their home today. It was very comfortable. Next time coming up on We Are the Millennials, check out Millennials in the Kitchen and see what we know about cooking. You can also check us out on Facebook at We Are the Millennials or on Twitter at PSU Millennials. Until next time, we are the Millennials.